Hello, everyone. So, Happy New Year to all of you. It's 2025. It's 3 days past 2025. Obviously, we're in January. Everyone wants to know where Bitcoin is going to move and where it's going to be probably in this month and in the coming months as well. Now, obviously, there are a lot of positive indicators that have come in the past, I would say, last 2 3 months, because of which we have seen a massive movement in the prices overall. And so today we are going to actually look at where we are going to see Bitcoin in January, by the end of January and somewhere in Feb, just understanding some of the macroeconomic indicators as well as some of the indicators and things that are happening in US as well, so that we can have a gauge in terms of where the price is going to go, because that's important, right? If we don't understand where the movement is going to be, all of these traders who have these courses to understand patterns and everything, that's not going to matter, because sometimes there are positive indicators that move the market a particular way. Now, first, talking about the current stage, we are at 96,000. Back in December 17th or 16th, we reached a maximum of about 108,000. So that was quite high in comparison as well. And so we are going into a good movement. But obviously, end of this December, we all know that all of the US securities and US funds basically and companies book their balance sheets and book their profits. So obviously, there's going to be some selling during that time. We saw a lot of the ETF outflows as well in US in Bitcoin ETFs during this time. So obviously, there was a lot less buying, I would say, momentum. And because of that, there might be some stop losses that hit. And so it came down to about 92, where it actually checked 92 as well. Now, going to the graph, this is the graph right now. I'll make you understand the lines that I created later on. But essentially, see, this is where the movement started as well, right? This is 4th and 5th November. So this is where BTC was at about 67,000. Now, from there on, it has moved substantially positively as well. This was at 17th and 18th December, which was 108,000. Now, what we are seeing on a daily, I would say, candle is that the movement is in a particular pattern as well, which is going up, but how fast up? Because it is obviously going to come down, and how much will it come down as well? Now, on 20th December, we know 20th January, we know that Trump is taking office. We also know that after the Ripple announcement and the Ripple case that is going on, that the last day of that is also 15 Jan. And so we think, and Gary Gensler is changing from 20th Jan, and so we might actually see a more crypto positive SEC. Now, the moment that happens, cryptocurrencies will be positively, I would say, focused on by the US government, both in terms of strategic reserve and also creating a focal point where they become the head of or the leader in, say, blockchain. And so obviously there are a lot of positive indicators the moment 20th Jan happens. But we will not see that movement, for example, or that government change and the effect of that government policy change for a substantial amount of time, but we may see some positive indications of it as well, even in terms of announcements, in terms of what is happening. Now, uh, considering that none of these bigger factors take into play where something happens or some bigger, I would say, event happens, what I have done is essentially in my graph created a line or a band where essentially this particular cryptocurrency is moving. So now BTC, for example, these are the base levels of it as well. These are the high levels. Now I have created a red line as well. This red line is essentially their base point. So if this so obviously this is a very aggressive trend. The overall trend would be more on the red line and not on the green line, but the current movement will be on the red line, will be on the blue in the band that I've created. So if we see from this pattern, obviously it was actually at the lower end of the movement first, and then it started to gain, and this has been moving from a lot of time as well. If you guys know, it was at 52,000 even before the government was elected, so there were positive indicators as well already. We just saw on 2nd Jan the data for unemployment and the data for overall jobs as well, so in US. And so we know that there is a lot of positivity that is coming in. It actually lowers down the possibility of a rate change by the Fed as well. So I don't think India takes that much of an effect into the market here because it does not own cryptocurrencies and a lot of projects are not there as well. So we're not going to talk about what the macroeconomic policies of India is because it's actually trying to imitate US policy rather than creating its own. So currently in our situation right now, we're focusing on the US and the things that are happening in US, both in terms of Trump election as well as the overall movement that is there, that is coming in from the positivity of the potential policies. We're not sure if that policy is going to take into consideration and actually happen, but for now, yes, there is a positive movement. So now, if we focus on the 4-hour movement, for example, we will see that it is bottoming out a couple of times at 90,000, 92,000, 92,000, and 91,400. So in those ranges, it has actually blocked every time. And so this is the movement which we need to look at as well when we are actually looking out. This is kind of the base. This is the first support, and this is somewhere where the second support comes in at around 92, 93,000. And so what is going to happen is in these last, say, after booking in these last 2-3 days, the movement has actually been that it has come up from 91,000 to like a 96, 97,000, touched 97 yesterday, 97,600, came back a little bit. We're waiting for the US markets to open, so let's see. I'm currently at 11:25 IST, so it's 11:30 morning in India. And so what is going to happen now? This is 6th Jan, right? Now, if we continue to have this pattern without any movement that much, we might have the movement back onto the red line, but it will always try to get back above the red line and the green line. So obviously, because this trend particularly matters. So now what will happen is this movement, if we check out this particular movement and we say, okay, this is the average that's going to be, at around 31st Jan or 30th Jan, this is where this price is going to be somewhere around the 120,000 mark. Now, obviously, we are going in a range, and so this might actually initially be at a high or somewhere go like this and then go in the lower band and then get up in the upper band once Trump actually takes office. And so usually, but it will be in the 130 to 118 range, and so that is going to be the range that is going to be there for the Bitcoin price. Obviously, from a long-term point of view, this is going to be much higher. I project that actually, and it's my personal opinion, obviously, but somewhere around the June mark, somewhere around this is where it's gonna, so end of April or mid-April, this is where it's gonna be touching 150, 160. So it's gonna be in that 150 to 170 band. This is where it's gonna be, so by April. And so currently we are looking at somewhere, and this is our target for this month. So we're gonna trade our policies and our trading execution based on this particular aspect, that we're thinking that it will go to around 128 to I would say maximum 128, lowest 118. So it's going to track back to the 108 and then go up about 20% from there. That's kind of the plan. That's what my strategy is. So yes, January, we hope that it is going to be 120,000 by Jan end, in that range, most probably. And so this is how you need to set up this particular month in terms of your strategies. We're at 96,000. So just from 96,000 to 120, that's about 30%, 27%. So that's a lot, even if you do it from a cash perspective. Even if you buy Bitcoin in cash, don't trade, don't do execution in futures and options and all of that. Just execute from the aspect of, okay, I want to buy and I get 30% off the return. Maximum is about 40%, 45%. And so, but that's in a month. So that's pretty good as well if it actually reaches there. So that's the agenda, and that's what my projection for Bitcoin is. It's going to be 120,000 this month. Thank you so much. I continue actually to make a lot of videos on blockchain, on cryptocurrencies, as well as on AI. So stay tuned for the other projections for these coins as well, because I might actually be looking at all of these to create strategies as well. So hopefully, thank you so much. Bye bye.